For many history buffs, it's been obvious for years now that Flanders and Wallonia have wanted to split up. Like Catalonia in Spain, this is because of a few factors such as language and culture. The north, or Flanders, speaks Dutch, while the south, Wallonia, speaks French. In the past, at some point, most of the Benelux region has been part of the Netherlands, including Luxembourg. These cultural and language differences were the reason why a man named Peter Geil proposed that the Netherlands annex Flanders. This proposal has been around for many years now, known as the Greater Netherlands Proposal. It's based on the fact that Flanders and the Netherlands weren't really actually separated until the 80 Years' War against Spain in the 16th century. The country would also be known as Dutchland, and this is basically the associated name with Greater Netherlandism or the Greater Dutch Movement. It's basically a nationalist style movement that seeks to unite all Dutch people. It's also been extended as far as the whole Benelux region uniting as they once were under the Netherlands. In my opinion, one of the best parts about the Greater Netherlands would be that they bring back the Prince's flag, or the flag with orange instead of red on it. If you watch any Dutch soccer matches or any other competitions, you'll know that all Dutch people wear orange, and if you're wondering why, it's because the old Dutch flag had orange on it instead of red. Even beyond the Benelux, some people speak about the fusion of French West Hook, Suriname, formerly Dutch-speaking areas of Germany and France, or even the ethnically Dutch, Afrikaans-speaking part of South Africa. The Greater Dutch movement really came into being at the end of the 19th century when some Dutch-speaking people from Belgium didn't really like the French government and they didn't like how everything was in French. So they came up with the idea that Flanders would either split from Belgium or recombine with the Netherlands. The years 1800 to 1900 were a relatively unstable time in the history of the Benelux region, but as soon as you got up to the First World War, the modern borders were drawn. After the First World War, the conflict between the Dutch and French speakers really rose. And essentially what happened during the First World War when Germany was occupying Belgium is that they separated the administrative districts between languages. There was a northern district, the Dutch district, and then the southern district, which was the French district. And who knows what would have happened if Germany decided to invade the Netherlands or the Netherlands tried to get involved into the First World War. During and after World War II was the main fall of this movement, especially since nationalism was often seen as a proponent of Nazism or far-rightism. Although the Greater Netherlands movement does in fact still exist within both countries, it's to a lesser extent to what it was in the 1800s. And the Belgian far-right party Vlaams Belang said they supported the idea, and that's because they wanted Flanders to succeed from Belgium and either become part of the Netherlands or become part of the Federation of the Netherlands, which was essentially the idea that the Netherlands would exist as a state and so would Flanders, but they'd kind of be together as one Dutch nation. And in May of 2008, the Dutch politician Geert Wilders, who was previously quoted as arguing that a Greater Netherlands was like a Nazi old-fashioned policy, he said that he was interested in the possibility of a merger between the Netherlands and Flanders, which is interesting because from an outside perspective, I see this as a form of nationalism, but it may not be seen that way inside of the Netherlands. So if there are any Dutch people watching, please let me know what you think in the comments. Basically, what it came down to is he said that there should be a referendum in both countries to see if they should merge. He was also quoted in saying, "The Netherlands must print the Flemish lion on its chest to say, 'Welcome home, we have never forgotten you.'" But the Prime Minister at the time said that basically the fate of Belgium is not for us to decide. Essentially, a few months later in the Times, it was pointed out to be quote-unquote science fiction by a writer, and it kind of faded off after that. Separatism still remains in Flanders, whether that be for an independent Flanders or a united Netherlands. A 2007 poll found that 77% of Dutch residents would support a Greater Netherlands. However, Flanders isn't very supportive, with estimates between 35 and 50% of being in favor of unification. That's very interesting because if they're correct, in fact, a referendum could pass through and change the borders of Europe as we know them. Interestingly enough, in the 2010 federal elections, the likelihood of Flanders seceding from Belgium appeared to be greater than before. The political party previously listed and the N-VA are mostly the main proprietors of the secession of Belgian Flanders. Although it would seem that neither party is really interested in a Greater Netherlands, they're more interested in Flemish independence. So if there are any Dutch people or Belgian people in the audience, if you're Wallonian, Flemish, or just Dutch, what do you think of this proposal? If you live in Flanders, would you like to be part of the Greater Netherlands? Or if you live in the Netherlands, would you want to be a part of Greater Dutch Union? And if you live in Wallonia, would you want to be part of half of Belgium? Or even if you live in Brussels, would you want to be part of the Dutch-speaking part or the French-speaking part? Let me know in the comments, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.